Qualify the podcast. I'm your host, Hassan. With me, I have Roger from BlkHisnHers. This brand is pretty interesting to me because number one, I love the color scheme. Number two, the product in itself is very interesting and clearly indicative of Black history. But it's about ownership of culture. And as you know, the show is about culture, also about entrepreneurship. So this makes the perfect sense for me to have this gentleman on to interview him. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just glad to be here. Glad I can, drop some of that stuff on you guys, let you guys know what this company is about. So, I really appreciate this.
Cool, man. No problem. No problem. So, of course, our connection starts with a mutual friend, Whitney Ray Hill. Hey, Whitney, how you doing? Thank you, Whitney. We appreciate
Hey, what's going on, Whitney?
Yeah. No, she's fantastic. She put me on to you based on prior to you actually working with her on her platform. She was showing me, the actual clothes. I actually saw it. And I looked at it. I think it was the cheetah print, if I'm not mistaken. And so when I looked at it, I said, oh, wow, it's like, now I'm not a cheetah person, right? But in terms of the look and feel, I said, okay, yeah, I can dig this. I mean, this is a really good statement. But at the same time, as we're going to talk about it, because your brand has a Black history and then a Black her story, right? I want to dive into that, but I always thought that was really clever marketing. Clearly, she had the one that said her story on it. But let's start from here. I'm gonna give you your flowers all the way through this, but let's start from.
I appreciate that.
How did this start? When did you start?
All right, so I started back in 2016. I actually had a clothing brand called Good Morning Clothing, but I've always had Black His and Hers in the back burner because, fun fact about me, I rapped, I did music, and it really just it derived from that because the name of the album was called, what was it called? It was called Dear Black America. And I wanted to play off of that. As rappers, we always wanted to figure out how we can fund our music career. And I was like, hey, I want, a fun way to do that would be to open up a clothing brand to, support that, because the clothing brand was just, that was like something that was just a hobby. Music was second nature. That was something that was just, I'm gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna be famous off of music. But it was just the clothing was gonna be the way to support that, music career. Sure. So Good Morning Clothing became something like a fitness brand, but I was like, well, I'm not fit. So I'm not going to, just keep this clothing thing going with Good Morning Clothing. So what happened was I end up scrapping that, and just the Black His and Hers, I still just put on the back burner. And, 2021, November of 2021 to be exact, is when I actually said, you know what, I'm gonna launch this. COVID helped me actually was able to sit down and actually, come up with my ideas as far as how far I wanted to spread this, because the Black His and Hers, I didn't have Black His story and Black Her story at the time.
Okay.
I just had the name of the company, Black His and Hers. So Black His and Hers, literally, whenever COVID hit, which was, I believe, the bottom of 2019, I believe, top of 2020.
Yeah.
So that's when, the ideas, of the brand, I started jotting down notes. I started, any little thing that I can think of when it comes to color scheme. The actual logo itself, the font itself is of the Martin theme, but we freaked it, of course, to make it our own. So, and then of course the African color schemes. So, we got a little red, yellow, green, black, of course, white to make it pop. So so yes, the COVID situation actually helped me settle down to make the brand what it is, but it was always been a part of me. It's just one of those things where if you feel like the ideas aren't coming to you at the time, because I thought the name was clever as hell. I was like, Black His and Hers, that's dope. With the clothing brand, Dear Black America for the album. So I was just like, yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't really start taking it serious until I actually sat down, started just reevaluating not just what I was doing in music, but also just in life, got married, kids. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna make this really work. I'm gonna push it to the forefront. I'm just gonna, basically just, how NBA players or, basketball players, football players all had this dream to be in the NBA or whatever the case might be, and they just push hard to get there. So that's how I'm feeling with the clothing brand. Like, I'm just gonna do it. So
I got you. I got you. When I think about 2 years ago, almost, when everything kind of came to a freeze, it did make people settle down. You had to, but it brought something out of certain people as well. Like, I was personally sitting on concepts, right? And only 2 of them I launched. I had like 5. And I said that I'm essentially just going to let that litter just go, and whatever puppies are eating the most, those are the ones I'm going to feed. And in theory, I mean, my podcast platform kind of came out during that same time frame, but it wasn't just because of the pandemic. But at the same time,
gotcha.
the way that we could communicate with each other changed. Like, we almost had to talk on the phone or video chat. And I said, well, the nature of my business is actually to communicate with people. My career, my education, I mean, that in itself is taking me into these areas, and now I can't. So, like, it kind of had my wings clipped, so to speak. But if it didn't bring something out of you to hustle, it probably made you reestablish your mental health capacities, and make sure, everything was okay with your family. It did one of 2 things for the most part. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, being that you're about to celebrate an anniversary of the business, so, congratulations on that voyage. How many people are in your company? Is it just you and your wife, or who?
So it's just me and my wife right now. Of course, I want to, have brand ambassadors. Hey, Whitney. So she's a
Hey,
brand
Whitney.
ambassador. And, I have a couple of other, a few other gentlemen that, contacted me to want to get into the situation as far as with BlkHisnHers. They have ideas and stuff of that nature. So just listening and having meetings just to actually have conversations with people. I just don't, just because let's say you have a crazy following, that doesn't mean that you can be a part of BlkHisnHers. It has to stand for something for you. So it's like, it has to mean something. If it means something to you, and you're just not trying to just jump on quote unquote the bandwagon, then, like, we have to somehow connect in some sort of fashion, even if I do not know you. So, so that's, it's just me, my wife, of course, looking for brand ambassadors. As the business gets bigger, better, as far as quality going to change, of course, in certain things. I know right now I'm working on another patch that's actually going to be a lot softer. So for instance, like, the patch would be more of, like, I'm not telling people to do this, but you would be able to, like, just ball up your hoodie with this also. So the whole hoodie would be able to ball up. Okay. And then when you unravel it, it still will be intact and everything. So, because I get a lot of questions, can I wash the hoodie? Yes, you can actually wash the hoodie. I done washed this hoodie about 10 times already. But some people do not, they don't want to take that chance because of the stiffness of the patch. So I decided, you know what, let me contact a couple of overseas companies, get a couple of samples in, see what I like the best, and then go forward with putting that production. So I actually put that in production about 3 days ago, as far as the upgraded patches Chanel patches that's going to go on the front of the hoodies. So yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Me and my wife looking to hire more as time goes by, company gets bigger and better.
Awesome. Well, okay, so you just made 3 really interesting segues, and we're gonna take it there. So the first one, if we can just drop some marketing points. You said that the font on this is Martin, as in Martin the show, for those that are listening, that can't see the design. By the way, you go over to BlkHisnHers, that's BlkHisnHers.com. You can actually see all of the product. You have hoodies, t-shirts, hats. If I'm not mistaken, are there more accessories?
So no, you're right. Hoodies, t-shirts, hats. My hats are selling out like, I don't know what's going on with the hats. Like, I'm not able to keep the hats as much as the hoodies and the shirts.
Okay. Well, that's a good problem.
The hoodies are selling pretty good, but the hats are just like, people just grabbing the hats. Oh yeah, nah, hey, no problems here. I'm just saying, like, the hats are definitely something that's disappearing. Of course, I had to keep a couple for myself in order, free advertisement. So, but so with that, yeah. So, as far as like we were saying about the font, yeah. So it's just I've always liked the Martin font. I mean, just it's when you type in African fonts, you're gonna see fonts that look very similar to this. But of course, like I said, even with music, we all are students of the game. So with the font, I'm a student of the game. So I'm like, I really like this font, but I need to make it my own. I want to be able to make the L do this and the A do this. And then of course, I want to, put on the his, I want it to say his instead of history. Of course it says history, but the his are all bold letters, capital letters. Yeah. So that was just and then if you notice on the story part, there's an underline on there so that people know that basically Black his story.
Yeah.
That's what that whole situation, as far as with the artwork, just with the graphic designer, letting the graphic designer know, hey, this is what I want. This is what it stands for. I gave him a backstory. I was like, here are some fonts that are very similar. Can you freak it a little bit for me? And we just went back and forth for about 3 or 4 days. And then he sent it back. He had it at first, it was like a circle style. And then he had like a rectangle, a triangle style. And I was like, you know what? Can you bubble up the front? I'm at the bottom and the top. And then he sent it to me. I said, okay, that's it right there. And then he added the little dots and the triangles right here. I was like, yeah, that's it right there. So
yeah, see, it's amazing to me, and all credit to you for having insight, history, in terms of knowing that where this would have come from. Because granted, we are of a certain age bracket. When you start looking at this from, let's go, a younger person, a millennial or Gen Zer, they probably don't know what impact that show actually had.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because we can walk around here like Martin was the greatest show of all time, and by the way, it kind of was. But when you look at it from the sense of what fashion wise it meant, rayon shirts, African colors, 8-ball jackets, you know what I mean? That was like on the back end of 80s rap. And please don't start joking with me about my age, but I'm from that JJ Fad, MC Hammer era. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh yeah,
Oaktown 357. You know what I mean? Like I love that because it was, I think personally, that was the best decade to define hip hop fashion.
Now, it definitely was. Oh my God, it was ridiculous.
I mean,
honestly,
not necessarily the best decade of, we can argue left and right about what the best decade of rap music was, but I'm talking about what made us fashionable within our own little universe. 90s. It has to be.
Oh yeah.
And I love it. I think 80s is the best decade ever, but 90s is it. 90s is it for Black fashion though.
Yeah, it's just the colors, the color schemes, just the creativity. You had a lot of people who actually made clothing, a lot of mom and pop stores, a lot of screen printing going on, a lot of Chanel patches, varsity jackets, all types of stuff going on. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So
you
yeah,
were dying to have them. You were just dying.
Oh yeah.
And I think that for and we can talk about your consumer base in a moment, but for a person like me, when I saw it, because I'm older than Whitney, so when I saw it, I said, "What are you doing with that?" Like, this is the first thing in my head. It's like, what do you think you're doing with that? So it's like, you trying to bring something back? Because I need to be wearing that,
Oh yeah, try to bring something back.
Yeah, but now she has her own fashion sense, of course, as well. But as you know, you picked her for an ambassador, so you get it.
Oh yeah. But fun fact.
What's that?
Fun fact, she picked herself as a brand ambassador. She was so happy about this and so intrigued and so just sold on the story. She was just like, hey, because I've already was going to ask her about the brand, being a brand ambassador, but she was like, hey, let me let you know something. Okay. I've already been telling people I'm a brand ambassador. I was like, oh my God, really? And she was like, yeah. I said, man, that's so great, because I was going to ask you. Okay. So it's like one and one just came together. Oh, she really did. Not only that though, but it's like, sometimes it's just that spirit, that energy, it just connects sometimes. You can just feel it,
Yeah, certainly.
People are easy to talk to. She was very easy to talk to when I first spoke to her. And like, even with you, when I first spoke with you, their energy was just, I'm like, okay, yeah, we definitely can do a pod. We can talk about the business, I'm built on energy. I'm built on positive energy, connecting with people, and then trying to connect people connect with people, basically paying it forward. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I'm honored, man. I appreciate it. And you definitely made the right choice in her in terms of ambassadorship, because the way she's moving, it's gonna carry. You know what I mean?
oh
Um,
yeah.
with what the symbol in itself being your entire logo, what that means to me though is like the vibes it gives me is the collegiate experience of the 90s, the higher learnings feel, you know what I mean? It makes me think about, actually, to be really, really honest with you, because I'm a sneakerhead, it makes me think about the bottom of the Jordan 7. You know, I had
Okay.
like the crazy triangles and the jazz almost looking like that. And then the Reebok tribal, you know what I mean? So
Okay.
like I looked at my closet, I'm like, I could do something with this. Like I can really freak
Oh, you
this
can freak
shirt.
it. And
Oh
then it's
yeah.
crazy because the way they be doing, it's crazy because just even some of the sneakers that they got coming out now is ridiculous when it comes to color schemes and stuff of that nature. So
Sure.
that's why this is such a great brand too, just in the aesthetics portion of it, just because you can also take it back to the sneakers that you're talking about. And then
Yeah.
you could take about the sneakers that they got coming out now
Yeah.
with the crazy color schemes, because I can mess around and give you a purple hoodie with this logo, or a red, black, whatever color hoodie, and then you have so many things that you can do with it, because now they mixing purples with blues and yellows
Yeah.
and reds, so, and then now you got these jeans and stuff of that nature with the rips in them and the patches, and it's just such a fashion sense, a fashion statement that, as the brand gets bigger, it will not just be an age limit. It'll be literally from teenagers, even kids, all the way to, the older generation, you're 65 and plus. Because it's weird. I have 65 plus that they're like, oh my God, I love this. I love what it stands for. I need to get me a hoodie. And they would normally buy their whole family a hoodie. So I've had those situations also.
Well, think about it like this. I mean, I'm gonna get back to that point though, because okay, my only statement to that is what a fun time right now it is to be fashionable, because the trend of an indicative decade of fashion, it's over. I spoke about this a while ago with a friend of mine. I said the time frame for people to do the retro 90s feel in terms of mainstream fashion, that's almost out. But what people are doing is bringing in an eclectic mix of everything now. You might have skinny jeans, you might have dad jeans, boyfriend jeans for women. You got the big shoe platform, and then you also have a slim shoe. Like
Yep.
everybody can do everything right now, and I think that's great because and yours isn't representative of a timed piece of clothing, but it is reflecting on a time capsule almost. Within that feel of what the 90s was.
Oh yeah.
Also, to your point, if you think about who was a school teacher in the 90s, they're 60 something now.
Yeah.
So they know what this is. You know what I mean? Like, Mr.
Yeah. I got some stories. Yeah, there's definitely some stories. Not mine to tell,
Yeah,
but I do have some stories. I mean, I know Whitney had a story, but like I said, that's not mine to tell.
sure.
So, and it's just several other people who was telling me what this brand means to them, and then their folks or grandparents that see whatever they see, and just they expressing themselves based on what that meant to mean to them. So it's
Yeah.
just it's refreshing to hear stories. Like I have some big stories coming out of some, I got some people that are really like I was even shocked being able to get in contact with, and we just talk, for days on end, and like, I want to create this for you. I want to do this, I want to do that. And just when them stories come out, it's gonna be like, wow. I mean, I got some key players that are really gonna set the brand up to where it needs to go. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm not rushing it because I don't want, like I said, I want to organically build this. I want it to be genuine. I don't want to just put it out because you have some people who are, let me screenshot my DMs and put out like who I'm speaking to, and
Yeah.
it's that's short lived. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to. That's me. To me, that's I consider that burning bridges. You burn your bridge just because someone isn't doing something for you fast enough, stuff of that nature. Do that. I'm here to actually build with you. If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it because you genuinely want to do it. If you don't, that's fine too, because at the same time, I still want you to have what I'm producing. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like you said, you're big on energy. I am too. Like I felt that there was a very positive nature to you, and essentially what the purpose of your business brand was. And then it's also such a fun design. It's like, you know, how do you not love that? You know what I mean? It's just like that. And there are others that are similar, but and that's fine. It's just that
Oh yeah,
it's just a lane. It's just a
room for everyone.
room for everybody.
It
Um,
really is. I get so many tags and so many. Someone posts a hoodie with, post my hoodie and posted somebody else's hoodie, and they'll say, this X this, and not and like X as far as like something negative. I mean like, my company with this company. No, not even versus. Just X don't always mean versus. X could just be like this with this instead of putting the W, like,
yeah,
Roger with blah, blah, blah. It's, it's Roger and like, so basically the X is like an and. So, and
gotcha.
it's exciting to see though, because they look at the product or even the brand itself as, okay, the product is high quality. And then they look at the brand as in like, you're just as good even on the level of these brands. So we're not scared to tag both brands, all three brands, four brands together. Like that send, that energy, that positivity, that boldness, that I don't know, it's just something about that that just is intriguing to me, and it makes me want to work even harder just
Sure.
because they put me on those same platforms or playing fields basically.
Yeah, I like it though. And essentially, and not to say that this is maybe your direction, but in business for me, because I don't really talk about all of the things that I do. Sometimes I prefer people to speak on all the things that I do because it just doesn't sound like I'm being pretentious when I'm talking then. But there is a sense of validation when even outside of your constituency, they're speaking of you, and they're speaking of you in the rooms that everyone else has already been established in. So yes, now you're swimming with all the rest of the sharks. And that's essentially where you want to be.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to be there.
So because of the vibes that, I talked about it being a 90s, it's a semi-retro feel, but yet still a very classic design. It also gives you the collegiate vibes, and you are in DC. Is that right?
I am Washington, D.C.
So let's talk about sales. In terms of your business brand, do you feel as though you're getting equal amount of college, level consumers, or are they kind of scattered all over the place in terms of age demographic?
it's it's crazy. They're scattered all over the place, really. Like when I look at the demographics, just looking at who's buying, who's actually posting, stuff of that nature, they are either my age, a little older, or they are, let's say, my age, but buying for their kids also that are not like college kids. I'm talking about young kids, 10, 12, 13 year olds.
Okay.
And yeah, so, and then I don't have a lot because, like I said, I'm not that 18 between 18 to 24 range. I'm not getting a lot of sales when it comes to the 18 or 24 range. Anything 25 and up or 7 to about maybe 13, I'm getting those sales. But like I said, I think the 7 to 13 year old range are from my my age group or older. So yeah, so I noticed that. Of course, I had a hell of a month for Black History Month, but
Yeah.
yeah, I had a hell of a month for that month. But that's not, of course, that's not what I'm about. As far as this is 365. This isn't you know, February. That the month of February only.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a big part of me to tell other people's stories. My story, of course, my wife's story when she's ready to actually tell her own story. Of course, I get bits and pieces, but she will be able to tell her own story so that people know that this isn't just Black history. It's also, your story, her story, his story. We're
Yeah.
building we're building a brand. We're building some equity. We're building, trust. We're building positivity. So that's what it's really about. So when I start getting that message out after February, the sales even started even increasing even more because people start seeing videos, people start seeing more photos with families, and then people started not just posting, let's say, for instance, posting in a hoodie, but they giving full descriptions,
Yeah.
which actually helps. So someone giving a full description like, hey, I'm at the Black Hair Expo and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. while wearing, my Black Her Story or my Black His Story hoodie. I've heard so many stories where people are traveling from state to state. I seen your hoodie at this place. I seen your hoodie at that place. And it's just intriguing because some of those places haven't posted the hoodie yet, but I know that it's starting to spread like wildfire. And that's just, like I said, man, that's just something that it's mind blowing just to hear that. Hearing it and not seeing it is crazy. So
I think that's beautiful.
yeah.
The fact that you get to hear about it. But then just if we could talk to the consumers, because I would like to think that your constituency is going to listen to this as well. You can spread it around as you want to also after we're done. But post and support kind of run hand in hand. I consider those to be like boyfriend and girlfriend in this new age, right? Because supporting is purchasing, and that's fine. And by no means is a person who bought a shirt obligated to do more than that because they already
exactly.
But in terms of the movement, if you believe in the positive nature and the movement of it, post couldn't hurt, right? Like I find myself in a lot of different arenas, and even on my show, I'm wearing friends and people that I really vibe with. Like I'm wearing their stuff. It's not even a question. Like it now, this ad can go here just for anybody that's listening, but it's not like that with me now. It's just, no, these are the people that I support. I bought these shirts, or these shirts are because we came up together, and I want people to know who that is. If you see me, you should see the people that I trust in my circle. And that is how, rising tides raise all ships, because they're not necessarily on the same platform as me all the time. All right. But I completely get it. I think it's a good story. You have such a cool underdog story in terms of the way it is that you designed it, and working with graphic designers. I have a graphic background. So when I saw it immediately, I said, why does this look familiar? And I couldn't put my finger on it. And then when I was talking to you, you said it was Martin. I said, okay, now that makes sense. That actually makes sense. Because I love that show, but I also love the design. Block script immediately draws you in, color surrounding it, the passion itself, it looks great. So, and I can't wait to get my hands on some of these, just personally.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get your hands on it. You can get your hands on a bunch of stuff, So I got, like I said, with the new patch, there's just different things in it. There's different little, like you said, I just took it even a step further with the Martin. You know how the Martin had like triangles, colored triangles, and colored squares, and the design and stuff of that nature. Oh yeah, I said let's do this. Let's really do this. So
you about to have me buy about 2-3 more pairs of shoes with this one, man.
Oh my gosh, there's a pair of Jordans that's about to come out, and I'm already looking at them like, yeah, I'm gonna match that up with this hoodie right here.
Further into your business, what are your future plans? What do you project this being in 2023?
So I project this, of course, being definitely a situation to where there's going to be more and more stories being told. Of course, there's going to be more and more. I feel like I'm definitely going to get some endorsements. I really feel like this is going to be a situation where I'll be getting, even if it's a small endorsement, even if it's a sticker company or something of that nature. I feel like that's coming. I've already had, like I said, some DMs, some sliding in my DMs and asking stuff of that nature. So, everybody, I'll weed out what is genuine, what is not genuine. So I just take my time. I answer everybody, of course. That's just one of my strong suits, is just answering everybody. So I answer everybody as far as in that, just because I'm a personable person. But that, and then just being able to outsource a little more, because right now I'm basically doing everything. I'm pressing everything. I'm doing all of the flyers, banners. So I don't have a background in graphic designing, but I do go on Canva, Photoshop, whatever I need to use in order to get stuff created. So I do that. But like I said, just scaling a business. I'm just being able to scale it down to where I'm not pressing all the hoodies. I'm not packaging every single thing, shipping out every single thing. Not really going with a complete fulfillment center to where they do every single thing, but just being able to take some of that work off me. Like, okay, I'll get my hats made from here, but they would be shipped to me so I can actually do my QC and stuff of that nature, instead of me pressing or embroidering the hats myself or whatever the case might be. I'm like, because eventually as time goes by, as the company gets bigger, I'm not going to be able to put my hands on that much product, be able to press every single hoodie. It's going to get to that situation. So that's just as far as the brand itself, as far as like clothing and stuff of that nature. Now, as far as like one of my bigger plans, as far as like towards the end of 2023, would be to link with some of the same people that's been purchasing. Let's say, for instance, like brand ambassadors, people who just want to pick my brain or pick the people that's in my circle brain. I want to be able to do like not an expo, but something like a summit, even if it's virtual. Just being able to just all connect, all just link up, all share stories. I want this brand to be able to, you have an aha moment, or a light bulb clicks in your head, like, man, just hearing these stories made me think about my story, and I have a hell of a story. Let me push this story to the forefront. So just being able to just, like I said, pay it forward, just connecting with people, meeting up with people, and just hearing different stories. It's I don't know, I'm just excited about it. I'm just excited to just be able to expand just thinking in itself, but also expanding value when it comes to just conversation, but also value when it comes to money too, to revenue, to just being able to get, a return on your investment. So it's just, yeah. So that's towards the end of 2023. Right now, I'm just trying to get my bearings with everything, trying to figure out, of course, you're always trying to figure out how you can make more money, how you can reach more people, stuff of that nature. So,
well, I believe that I don't think you're speaking it into existence. I believe that ball is rolling already. So I really would like to see that come to fruition, and then even more. And of course, if there's anything that I can do to contribute, please let me know. But this is a pretty important, to me, business that you've established, because if I can just kind of describe it, yeah, Black History Month in February makes a lot of sense, but then there's Women History Month in March. So that careens over into it. There's going to be more pseudo, sub level months of awareness that are coming out as well, to which everyone can benefit from that. But they have to appreciate that it is more than just a periodic advertisement type of brand, which I'm not saying that that's a fault of yours. People just have to get used to seeing it, on a routine basis. But
definitely.
But it's still something powerful though, because quite honestly, women could wear the same shirt. A woman can wear a Black History shirt because it says Black History. She can also wear the Black Her Story, and it takes on a whole different meaning. Meaning. And that's why I'm like, really that's genius. So I mean, I really like the flow of what you have. I really do. So and that was the reason why I wanted to have the conversation with you.
No, I appreciate that. I really do. Like that's I get a lot of praise when it comes to the Black Her Story. I get praise for the Black History too, though. But my biggest supporter from the Black Her Story movement, they're really loving this Black Her Story. Oh my God, Black Her Story. I get so many. I mean, even my brother be like, "Hey man, did you?" Like he'll be sending me stories and stuff. I'd be like, "No, that's not me." As far as like, I created that in order to, I'm like, no, sometimes it's just circumstances or coincidences. That's all. Sometimes that's just what it is.
Can you tell people everywhere to find you though?
All right. So I'm on Facebook, Black His and Hers, basically, like you said, BLK, HISNHERS. So Black His and Hers. Then I'm on Instagram, of course, same thing, Black His and Hers. You can contact me at BlkHisnHers@gmail.com. I also have an email format on my website, which is BlkHisnHers.com. So if you want to contact me through my through my website, you can do that also. Like I said, Messenger, Black His and Hers Messenger. On Facebook, you can contact me there. So everything is just Black His and Hers, basically. I try to make it real simple, easy to look up. Like if you type it in, very easy to look up. But yeah, so you can find me on all those platforms.
You have all the information on how to reach him. This is Roger with Black His and Hers. Roger, I want to talk to you off mic about two things. So we got to get off this mic first, because I think I have an idea for you. So in the meantime, you can find me at Qualify the Podcast. That's QLAFD, registered trademark now, thanks to the lawyers. Then also you can catch this on all streaming platforms as well as on YouTube. This audio will be released soon. Be looking forward. Also be looking for further information on April 12th. We're going to do the podcast Independent Radio again. Qualified Indie Radio it is with DJ Clint. Shout out to Clint. Shout out to Whitney Ray Hill. Thank you, Roger, for being a part of the show.
Man, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We'll talk later. All right, y'all take care.
Thank you.